All right, what's going on, everybody? It's the Sit Down podcast that you are listening into now. Thank you for joining us. I have a great episode planned for you guys. I have a great guest, and actually, this is probably one of the coolest places that I've been to for a podcast because I've been all over the place. I've sat in people's kitchens. I've sat in people's living rooms. We've done them everywhere, as you guys may know. But this one, we are in a gym, and if you tune into the video, you can see what's going on. Audio listeners, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to tune into that YouTube if you guys want to watch and see what's going on. I really advise that because this is like probably the coolest place I've ever been to as far as like podcasting goes. This is why I love it though, you know, because you get to go different places, you get to meet new people. Like that's what this art's all about for me. So I'm happy to do that on this episode, and I have two great guests. One by the name of Vince and the other by the name of Angel. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, but man, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Sit Down. How you guys doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Thank you for coming to Halo Jiu-Jitsu Training Center. It's an honor to have you here. And, we're a hardworking gym, home of professional jiu-jitsu in Fresno. And we, got also another Muay Thai program here, One Kicks Muay Thai. So we got a complete package here. And, we rise by lifting others, and that's what Halo's about. And I got that quote from a good black belt named Bruno Tank Mendez, so I want to give him a shout out for that quote.
Okay,
yes.
That's a good quote. Yeah, I was like, man, that was a bar.
Yeah. I used to rap back in the day too.
Okay,
that's why.
We'll definitely get into that. We'll definitely get into that, though. We'll definitely get into that.
Those were good times when I was doing things.
But yeah, Vince, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you guys out here. It was good. I just wanted to give us a platform to talk about jiu-jitsu and wrestling and everything that we got going on here at Halo, because it's turning into a lifestyle for me.
Yeah.
And it's a lifestyle I never knew about.
Right.
I thought competition was dead after high school and college,
Yeah.
And I didn't even get to wrestle a lot in college because I got hurt, but I thought I was done. And then jiu-jitsu got introduced to me. Found out I had a cousin who was the professor, who was the owner of the gym, who was just taking my game to a whole new level. Anyways,
oh, snap.
Here we are doing world competitions and out-of-state competitions, out-of-country competitions, traveling the world. So
you got that competition back in your
awesome.
life.
It's fun, yeah.
Hell dude.
It's a bug, man. Once you catch it, it's hard to shake it.
Yeah, I've kind of heard that from like the fighters I've talked to. Like it just becomes like an obsession, because it's like I feel like there's so many benefits to it, like. You get that self like confidence, that you can like defend yourself. It's a great workout, all those things. Like lessons too.
We've said it over and over. There's no better workout than fighting for your life.
Oh, shit.
And when you're in here, you're literally fighting for your life every round, because the other guy's trying to choke you out. He's trying to break your arm. He's trying to break your leg.
Yeah.
Something. But we train hard here. That's what Halo's all about.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Definitely. It's definitely the transition, like he's a wrestler. So, transitioning from a great wrestler like him to wrestling in Clovis.
Yeah.
Right? You wrestled in Clovis, a D1 wrestler.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college again?
I went to a D2 school in Newberry.
D2
and
school.
ended up getting hurt.
Yes.
I didn't go D1 because I didn't have the grades. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because a D2 wrestler is just good as a D1. The grades separate that. So he's a great wrestler. I know who he is, and I know what background he comes from. So, to have the wrestlers around here, this is a wrestling community in Central California, and this is a base, a wrestling base in Central California. So jiu-jitsu is a good transition because, when you're done and you graduate high school and you done wrestled and did all that, what are you going to do afterwards? You're going to go to college, you're going to wrestle. If you don't wrestle, you still love the mat because you grew up wrestling your whole life. So jiu-jitsu is an amazing transition because it's actually the answer to wrestling, because us wrestlers like to be bullies and get on top and punish you, and did that because I come from a wrestling family as well. My family grew up in Selma. My dad and my uncles were on the first wrestling team in Selma, California.
No shit.
So that's like amazing to see my cousins that grew up wrestling with me as a kid and how, good and far they went. Rest in peace, Gary Quintan, my cousin. I love him. He's a legend, and he's a Hall of Famer wrestler from Central California, from Selma, and a great coach in Clovis and all that as well. So to be able to transition to jiu-jitsu is where the wrestlers, I believe, if you're bored at home, get over here and let's do some jiu-jitsu and let's get the answer to wrestling, because you need to get caught in submission so we can be humbled. Because us wrestlers, we all grew up a little cocky. But then when you come in and do jiu-jitsu, you're going to get humbled because you're going to get tapped out by a guy that looks like he just grew up in a library reading a book. So it's like, how can that guy tap me out? So that's my story. That's what happened to me when I came in and started doing jiu-jitsu.
That's how you got humbled.
Exactly. I needed to be humbled like every man needs to. And when I did jiu-jitsu, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I needed this in my life. It opened my eyes. It woke me up. And even my cousin Ishmael Quintana, Gary's brother, he's like, Angel, I saw when you got tapped out that one time at Tachi Palace that it woke you up and it was good for you. And then here I am now on 130 tournaments. I've been competing around the world since 2016. I got over 30-something tournaments, or actually 60 tournaments as a black belt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, you know, jiu-jitsu is a tough sport.
It sounds like it.
It's hard. You're never going to win. You're not going to be undefeated, but it's going to make you a better person.
Right. So that humbling and that loss is kind of like where you fell in love with, like, simultaneously.
Exactly. I needed that. You know, when we first opened the gym in 2008, I was more, you know, just I wanted to fight, you know, stand up. I'm an ex-wrestler. And then I started doing jiu-jitsu, and it really changed my whole game. It made me a better fighter, to be honest with you. Because I had some good stand-up, I had good wrestling, but jiu-jitsu, it made me a complete fighter. And I actually put MMA on hold because of jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu like stole my heart. Yeah. So I'm glad it did, because it made me a better person. I know it's God sent. It has to be.
Right. That's what is that. So you're the founder of this gym, right? Halo's.
Yes.
Halo, and you founded it in 2008.
Yes, actually, we had Fresno Kickboxing Academy, which I had a partner at that time, and then it transferred over to Halo Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, so I'm the founder of Halo Jiu-Jitsu. Yes, I am.
So how did the gym come about? Like, what was the process? Like, when did you decide you're like, I love this so much, I want to have my own gym?
Well, I wasn't actually, my friend Gabe Martin, he's the one that said, Angel, you want to open up the baddest MMA gym in Fresno? I said, hell yeah, let's do this. So we did that, and, you know, he was so, like, motivated, and he's like, Angel, let's do this. So we did it. He sparked my brain to open up the gym with him. You know, he was my partner. So, you know, I owe him a lot of credit. Shout out to Gabe for doing that. I love you, bro. And I always give everyone credit when credit is due.
Hell yeah, I've noticed that about you.
A lot of people, they're more like, they don't like to give credit out to people sometimes because they want to protect their ego. But
they want to feel like it was all them.
It wasn't. Right. Yeah, it was never all me. So, but now, you know, I decided, you know, I took over afterwards. You know, he has a family. He's doing great in life. You know, I'm happy for him. And, you know, we're still going, and it's Halo Jiu-Jitsu now.
2008, so that's been, what, 12 years? 12
years. 12
And when did you start coming to Halo?
I started 2 years ago.
Yes.
It was 2 years ago in August.
And it's your cousin, is that?
Yeah.
You guys are cousins?
So we found out on Ancestry.com that we were related.
No shit.
Yeah, I grew up in Kalinga.
I'm real, bro.
You didn't know?
Well, so the thing is, I grew up in Kalinga.
Okay.
And I grew up under Lopez, which was my dad. And then I ended up, when I graduated high school, taking my mother's maiden name. And so, I mean, I've been a Lopez my whole life.
Right.
I just go by Trevino. And come to find out, you know, some friends had brought me in here. An ex-wrestling partner from high school was training here. Came in, and he was like, just talk to Angel. Angel will hook you up. Like, he'll get you straight. And I was like, all right. So when we met, right off the back, there was a connection. We didn't really know what it was. He was just like, you're a wrestler. You're going to get in here. I'm going to make you great. Yeah. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, let's do it. You know, it was like being gone, because I didn't compete for almost 8 years.
But at that time, you didn't know.
I had no idea.
Not yet.
We didn't know we were related until we did the Ancestry.com just a couple months ago.
Just a couple months ago?
Yeah, just a couple months ago.
What made you want to, like, so were you just doing it on your own? Or
yeah, it was a gift. My girlfriend bought it as a gift for me and her. And one of the first things that popped up was Angel, and I was like, "You're kidding me? That's crazy.
That is crazy."
So
energy.
So we're going through it, and then ever since it's just been like everything's been clicking. As soon as I started taking off, and we did the Worlds, we did 559 fights, we did Grappling X, we did the Worlds again. We've done Fight to Win. I mean, we've done all kinds of stuff just in 2 years. Right. And now he's got me on a schedule. We're gonna go out of country. We want to go to Japan. We want to go to Thailand. We want to do some big.
How are
tournaments.
these fights? Like, so, like, how are the processes? Like, so are they done like in like big gyms? Are they kind of like wrestling tournaments, or like how does
it's
it work?
real similar to a wrestling tournament. And that's why I said the transition from wrestling to jiu-jitsu is easy, because you're in the same atmosphere. You're under the lights for the big tournaments. You're in the big crowded gym with kids everywhere for the the Saturday and Sunday tournaments.
Yeah.
You're waiting for your name to get called. You're waiting for your weight class to get called. It's nervous. You got a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
But the cool part about jiu-jitsu versus wrestling is wrestlers cut weight. Everybody knows that about wrestlers. You cut weight, it's a grind.
Yeah.
And, we'll talk about the grind in a minute, because that's the big one. Mm-hmm. But in jiu-jitsu, you weigh in right before your match.
Okay.
So you get these guys that are cutting big weight, but then they're gassed out. So in jiu-jitsu, you don't really cut a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Because you know that you're going to weigh in right before. So you get these guys that are coming in fresh and coming in healthy.
Yeah.
Whereas in wrestling, you got a day to recover. But in jiu-jitsu, you got 5 minutes. Maybe 10.
That's right.
And you do your whole bracket, just boom, 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 boom until it's done. You don't wrestle once and then wait 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You fight until your bracket's done. So your whole bracket, you'll be waiting all day. Your bracket will be done probably within an hour.
When you fight like how?
And you'll fight 4 or 5 times.
It's
Damn.
hard.
So it's like you're going from one fight, you win, you move to the next.
Sometimes you stay on the mat.
You
just stay on the mat.
Yeah.
Damn. So it's like King of the
hard,
Hill.
dude.
Yeah.
That's what woke me up too. That when you stay on the mat.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I grew up wrestling, so jiu-jitsu, there ain't no, okay, you're done with your match, you're like dead. You're like, oh, I'm dead. I'm just beat up. I got beat up.
Yep.
You got another match in about 10 minutes.
But
So-
that's where I feel like wrestling comes in. But for the wrestlers to come in, they've grown up. I started wrestling when I was 7 years old, so I found out what the grind was at an early age. So you get these wrestlers who've been wrestling their whole life. They've been grinding. They're working through cauliflower. They're working through broken fingers, broken toes.
Yeah.
Skinned up feet.
Just that tolerance.
Whatever. You work through it though. You grind through it, and that's something that you can evolve, but you can't really teach that. You gotta live that for a little while to understand what that grind is. So when you get wrestlers that come into jiu-jitsu, some of them, especially if they were good wrestlers, they do pretty good right off the bat because they know what that grind is. They're grinding they're right back into it. Whereas some guys will get caught in something and they'll be like, oh, let me stretch this out for a little bit.
Yeah.
A wrestler's not even gonna stop.
Yeah.
And that's just the mentality. So I think that was what gave me the biggest advantage over my opponents was that I started wrestling when I was 7. Some of these guys I've faced other wrestlers, but most of the guys that I faced have been doing jiu-jitsu just as long as I have, just for a couple years.
Right.
So,
but they didn't have that wrestler's edge.
But they didn't have that wrestling edge. So I've had a big advantage, early on in my career. Whereas I'm watching, the brown belts and the black belts go, and I'm just like, man, that's a different game.
Yeah.
It's a whole different level.
That's insane that it's like King of the Hill like that.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like how many times have you guys fought in a row in a tournament?
Man, I mean, the most I fought probably 8 matches. It's hard, dude. It's hard because after you win your division, then you go to the open division and fight every weight class.
Yeah.
So it's like you want to take the whole tournament, regardless of what weight you are.
Yeah.
So, I remember a tournament when I was a purple belt, I fought 4 times, and then I went to the open division and fought 3 more. That's 7 fights. And then I ended up in the finals fighting the heavyweight, and he's like, Angel. He's all, man, I fought 6 heavyweights today. You were tougher than all of them. And I only weighed, at that time, that was 2012, 13. I probably weighed 149.
Oh, snap.
And I was still fighting heavyweight. So jiu-jitsu, you can fight big dudes. You know how to regulate them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's what the absolute is. When he says the open, it's called the absolute. And is what it is that you go through a tournament, whatever tournament it is, and the top 3 guys that place, if you've medaled in your weight class, you can go do the absolute. So the absolute's just going to be a bracket full of the top 3 guys in every weight class.
Oh, wow.
So the guy that weighs 145 pounds that got gold, if he wins his side of the bracket into the finals, and the heavyweight wins his side, that guy that weighs 145 pounds is gonna fight the guy that weighs 280 pounds in the finals.
Yeah, it's really that technical. It's really...
Damn.
It's tough.
Because in jiu-jitsu, you want to know who the baddest dude in the room is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it is. In wrestling, we can never
never
answer
cross
those
over
questions
like that.
because
It's just weight
you
class.
couldn't do it.
Yeah,
you
it's
know what I
different
mean?
weight classes,
But in jiu-jitsu and MMA, you can